He met her at a party. She was stunning, the kind of woman who drew attention effortlessly. Many men tried to strike up conversations with her, hoping to catch her interest. He, on the other hand, was just an average guy, shy, awkward, and not the kind who stood out in a crowd. But something about her captivated him. As the night went on, he gathered every ounce of courage he had and approached her. "Would you like to have coffee with me sometime?" he asked nervously. She was taken aback. It wasn't every day that someone so timid made such a bold move. Out of politeness and maybe a little curiosity, she said yes. A few days later, they met at a cozy coffee shop. As they sat across from each other, the atmosphere was anything but comfortable. He was too nervous to say much, and she felt the awkward silence hanging in the air. She fiddled with her hands, waiting for the coffee to arrive, unsure if this date would amount to anything. When the waiter finally brought their coffee, something unexpected happened. He looked up and said, "Could you bring me some salt, please? I like my coffee salty." The waiter froze, confused, but complied. Everyone around them turned to look, some whispering, others chuckling. Her eyebrows shot up in surprise. Salty coffee? Who does that? He blushed furiously as the waiter placed the salt shaker on the table. He sprinkled some into his cup, stirred it, and took a sip as if it were the most natural thing in the world. Curiosity got the better of her. "Why would you put salt in your coffee?" she asked, her voice filled with both amusement and confusion. He hesitated, then gave a soft, nostalgic smile. "When I was a boy, I lived by the sea. I used to spend hours playing on the shore, tasting the salty breeze. Salty coffee reminds me of those days. My hometown, my childhood, and my parents, who still live there. It's comforting, like a little piece of home in every sip." As he spoke, his voice softened, and she could see the glint of tears in his eyes. It wasn't just a quirky habit, it was a glimpse into his soul. Her heart warmed. This wasn't just some guy trying to impress her with flashy words. He was genuine, someone who carried his memories and emotions close to his heart. She started to relax, sharing her own stories about her childhood, her hometown, and her family. The conversation flowed easily after that, and the awkwardness melted away. That day marked the beginning of something beautiful. They continued to see each other. Over time, she discovered just how kind, thoughtful, and dependable he was. He might not have been the most confident or outgoing man, but he had a heart of gold, and that was more than enough for her. Eventually, they got married. Every morning, she would make him coffee, always adding a pinch of salt, just the way he liked it. They built a life together, full of love, laughter, and little rituals, like their salty coffee. 40 years passed in blissful companionship. Then, one day, he fell ill and passed away after a short battle with his illness. She was devastated. One afternoon, as she was going through his belongings, she found a letter he had left for her. With trembling hands, she unfolded it. "My dearest," it began. "Please forgive me for the only lie I ever told you. Remember our first date at the coffee shop? I was so nervous that day I accidentally asked for salt instead of sugar. When I realized my mistake, I didn't know how to fix it, so I just went with it. From that moment on, I pretended to like salty coffee just so I wouldn't ruin the memory of that day. Over the years, I wanted to tell you the truth so many times, but I couldn't bring myself to do it. I didn't want you to think I had lied to you about something so small, because everything else between us was real. Now that I'm gone, I need you to know, I hated salty coffee, but I drank it every day because it reminded me of you, of us. It became a symbol of the love we built together. If I could live my life over, I'd make the same mistake again, just to have you in my life. I'd drink salty coffee forever if it meant being with you. Thank you for loving me even with all my flaws. Forever yours, still madly in love, your husband." Tears streamed down her face as she finished the letter. She clutched it to her chest, her heart aching and full all at once. From then on, whenever someone asked her about the salty coffee, she'd smile softly and say, "It's sweet,